Okay, everyone, thanks for being here. How's everyone finding the challenge so far? We've ticked off 2 days, so that's enough to sort of, get into it and see what you're in for. But the next 3 days is really where the magic is going to start happening for you, where it's going to be like, oh, okay, this is all making sense. And my intention is that by the end of this, end of this 5 days, that you'll start to really be able to hone in on the parts of your life that have been perhaps causing roadblocks for you and you weren't maybe aware of them. But more importantly, like recognizing it is just one part of it, but then giving you some tools of, okay, like all I've got to do is just, implement that strategy or, plug in that tool and get where I would love to go. So before I will do a quick recap on beliefs before we get into today, but can I just open it up? Any insights? Anyone have any epiphanies last night or anything that they'd like to share? Anything that's come up? Catherine, hi, how are you?
Hey, thanks, Donna. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's just I wrote down to manipulate your belief system, and I find that a very hard thing to do because a lot of my belief systems are so ingrained through trauma and whatnot. And most of my goals I kind of set for myself were kind of emotional trauma related kind of goals that are now reflected into my business. So just some more advice on like how to really kind of manipulate the belief system.
Okay, that's thank you. That's a really lovely question. Most importantly, I know I used the word manipulate yesterday. I'm trying to remember what context it was in. Let's manipulate. It seems so conniving, doesn't it? It's like seems like we're trying to trick ourselves when it's really not that at all. It's really more so about having an awareness of our own personal patterns, because even though like we think about it, oh, we've got all these beliefs now, by the way, Catherine, don't think that you're the only one that has beliefs that are ingrained. Everybody does. Like everybody's beliefs are ingrained regardless of what your circumstances are. It's just that some might be playing out in a more functional fashion for people. Some might be playing out in something that they're labeling as dysfunctional. But the whole thing about belief work is to get in the habit of kind of dropping the labels that we have on ourselves as well. Because as soon as we label something, a belief system is triggered. So as soon as we slap a label, it triggers a set of belief systems, and it sets off the chain reaction of like thoughts and behaviors and thoughts, feelings and behaviors. So the first step is to have awareness. Okay. The first step is to have awareness. The second step is to, like the little exercise that I did with everyone yesterday. I mean, there's plenty more that we can do on that. And by the way, there is an 8-week program coming up for those that, are getting a lot out of this and would like to go further with it, where we go in a lot more detail. But the second step after you've got the awareness is to then, we then start to work on clearing the emotions around that, so that you're not so polarized that it's too hard to get back to the center and to kind of have that awareness. Because if you're here, just sorry. Okay, so what I've noticed is like when people speak about belief systems and they go, oh, well, you've just got to like get yourself out of that and focus on the end result. And it's like, I've sat there in other people's workshops, and having done all the layers of work that I've done, and I've just thought, what you're asking of the average person is too hard. It's too hard to focus on the end result. Like they need some other support tools around it. And that's where tomorrow we'll be looking. I'll be touching on how to clear some negative emotions, and it's not to. The purpose of that is to just get you a bit closer to the center, so that you can see what's going on and that you can actually transcend your belief systems. Okay, because when you're in a belief system and you're in fight or flight, then it's really challenging. You know, I'm not saying that that's an easy task, but so the next step is dissolve some of the emotions, like clear the emotions, get yourself back to the center, then focus on the end, then notice the natural behaviors that would kick in and make a different choice. Okay. The main thing with this diagram as well, by the way, is that last night when you were looking at your goals, and we're going to be doing this today, the most important thing is to check off, do we have goals that are in our fight, you know, deeply rooted in our, you know, fight and flight system? You know, are we just trying to, you know, seek a pleasure and avoid a pain, or are we doing something that's truly meaningful? You know, when we get to that end, will that feel really fulfilling to us? You know, will that be like a long-term satisfaction? So Catherine, does that answer your question? I know I've kind of answered your question with a, we'll be covering that today and tomorrow type thing. If you still have that question at the end of the week, hit me up again so that I can give you another layer of clarity. But I get the sense that we will cover this for you. Okay. We're building. Yeah. Awesome. Anyone else have anything that they'd love to share? Or
I will, Donna.
okay.
I've done the values questions lots of times. I try and do them quarterly, but just doing them this time, and they're having that belief, making sure that they were my values. And it was interesting on the first day because my dad rocked up, yeah, and I didn't get to sit in the session. And, you know, when I was doing my beliefs, something popped in, and it was always like I could really hear my dad's voice. And I instantly went, well, is that mine or my dad's? And I was like, that's dad's. Delete that one, distort that one. What's yours? What's there? What's left? What's important to you?
Okay, awesome. And so, and by the way, did your values change, or was it just the meaning that you assigned to them?
It was, no, they're very sort of similar, but yeah, it's almost like they concreted it a little bit more, and more of how they were reflective and important to me. Like, I know, you know, raising a family was important to my parents, but in their form, and it kind of just got a little bit clearer as to how I parent and how I want to raise the children, what's important to, you know, pass on belief-wise.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So you're starting to think about legacy more so than just going through the motions.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. That's lovely. Anyone else have anything that they'd like to share, or any questions? Anything that's come up overnight? Oh, okay, great. Let's get into it. Okay, I've just got some notes that I took about belief systems while I was having my shower this morning, because who finds that they have all these great ideas when they're having a shower? Anyone else, or is it just me? Okay, cool. Awesome. So firstly, values. I'll recap day one, recap day two, and then we'll get into today, which today we're looking at powerful alignment, and that's where we pull beliefs and values and goals all together. So who got a chance to write out some goals last night? Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. That'll make today so much easier. It just means that you can start building on things straight away. Okay, so we all have a hierarchy of values, things that are the most important to us, the things that are the least important to us. When something supports our values, we become infatuated with it. When something challenges our values, we become resentful, you know, or we try to avoid it. Okay, that's our animal nature. Then we have our higher mind, or our angelic mind, which is willing to embrace both pain and pleasure in order to achieve its soul's purpose. Okay, so you notice when something is really important to you, you will, you know, you'll go the extra yard, you'll sacrifice things, you'll embrace both sides in order to achieve your goal. If something's not that important to you, you'll only do it if it feels good. Okay, has everyone noticed this within their own selves? Cool. Okay, so that's how values plays out. Okay, so the other thing as well is that your mind can't be down here. Your mind can't consciously be down here without unconsciously being up here, and vice versa. Okay, often when I work with people, their mind will be down here and their unconscious part will be in a fantasy about the way they think things should be. Okay, so our mind is always balanced, even though consciously it might feel really distorted and polarized, but there's always access to the other side. Okay, I'm not going to go into that right now because we're going to talk about that a lot tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow's a really good one. If you're finding that you get caught up in emotions, tomorrow is a really good one to sort of, giving you some real tools and real strategies on how to self-regulate when those big emotions arise. Okay, so when it comes to belief systems, the other thing that's also running this show is your belief systems. Okay, your belief systems trigger your thoughts trigger your feelings, and your feelings trigger your behaviors. Your end result of whatever it is that you're creating right now is a direct correlation to your behaviors. You might want to be writing this one down. This is actually good. Okay, so you've got a few dominant beliefs that are triggered at different levels of stress. Okay, so different levels of stress will trigger different belief systems. Okay, so our behaviors, so I'll just recap on that again. So your behaviors has a direct correlation to the results that you're getting right now in your life. So your behaviors have a direct correlation, and your behaviors are triggered by feelings. Your feelings are triggered by thoughts, and your thoughts are triggered by beliefs. Okay. So thoughts and beliefs is basically the beginning. That's basically, your thoughts and beliefs, which is triggering your feelings and behaviors, is essentially your values and your belief systems playing out. Okay, so it's really worth getting to know those things, like really worth getting to know those things, because you can start to, at the moment, if you're not intimate with those things, you're just running on autopilot. Like you really are running on autopilot. Okay. So if our behaviors, and also our behaviors are both actions as well as reactions. So our behaviors or actions are those which we are in alignment with our goals and our purpose. The reactions are ones that are just reacting to our environment and to the people around us. Okay, so if our behaviors are triggered by feelings are triggered by thoughts are triggered by beliefs, then we've got to look at the beliefs. The beliefs are really often what's running the show here. Okay. Okay, so let's get into today. If there's any other questions about belief systems, just now if we get time, there was an exercise that I really was hoping to do with somebody over the course of today, either today or tomorrow. I don't know if we'll get time to do it today, but a conflict deconstruction process, because what this allows you to do is to see how, often we think that we're a victim of our circumstance, and this process really allows you to see how we are co-creating in any given moment. The thing is that when it comes to creation and manifesting, we like to believe that we created the good stuff and that the bad stuff, we were just a victim of circumstance. Come on, I'm guilty of this one. Anyone else? Own up. It's like, yeah, I created that. That was awesome. Oh, that bad stuff. No. That was just an accident. That wasn't me. When in actual fact, we're playing a hand at everything that we're creating right now. Okay. So if there are things in your life right now that you're like, why did I create that? This conflict deconstruction process gives you the opportunity to see how and why. So if we do have a volunteer for either today or tomorrow, let me know at the end, or put your hand up if there's something. I'll ask you again at the end, but be thinking about this now. It'll probably take about 5 or 10 minutes. What we'll do is we'll just take a conflict, we'll deconstruct it so you can see how your beliefs were playing out. and how you actually do have the power to make different choices. Okay. We don't, I don't, this is something that in the 8 weeks, the 8-week program, you will go through it in detail numerous times, step by step. But for now, I'll just take someone through it so that you can see what the process is and see how that works. And really to add more evidence to you that your thoughts and your feelings aren't real. We know that our beliefs aren't real. We know that our beliefs are just pre-programs. So, okay, that's an interesting point. So, I mean, would you all agree that your beliefs, that they're not, they're not steeped in reality. They're just a set of pre-programs. Can we agree on that one? Okay, so if they're then driving your thoughts and your feelings, are your feelings? I mean, I'm not saying that the experience isn't real for you, but can you see that they're actually not based in reality? Can you see that as well? So that's just, even that in itself, Catherine, you were asking about tools. I mean, that, that is that's something that I personally use. Sometimes if I find that, that I'm thoughts or feelings, and this is something that I, share with my clients as well, is if thoughts and feelings are starting to run away, just stop yourself and remind yourself that these actually aren't real. These aren't real. Just getting in the habit of that, of reminding yourself that these actually aren't real. I can choose a different path right now. I can self-indulge and go down this path, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong, but it's just being aware of it. Okay, right here. Okay, so where are we up to? Day. Okay, so powerful alignment. Okay. Okay. Okay, so today we're going to look at, part of getting in powerful alignment is ensuring that we've set up the structure so that it is in alignment. Okay, so it's setting up this structure so that you've actually got goals that are aligned with your mind, body, and soul is all in alignment, and that you can move forward, and that the structure is set up correctly. Okay, so the first thing is the benefit of doing this is that you can really begin to, once you've set up that structure, you've really got something to refer back to, and you'll start getting results a lot quicker. This is just a checklist, and you'll now have this forever. As I mentioned yesterday, sometimes you'll jag it. But if you've got this checklist, you can bring in a layer of authenticity to it. Like you can kind of, be your own sounding board of, okay, is this a bunch of BS? Am I, is this steeped in reality, or am I just sort of going off on a tangent? Am I setting goals that are polarized here? Okay, so just mentally go, have a look at your notes. Just ask yourself, what problem did you come here to solve this week? Okay, so whether you were aware of it or not, we all set an intention. Nobody gives up 5 days of their life if they don't have something that they wanted a little more clarity on. Okay, so just ask yourself, what was that problem that I came here to solve? Okay, and by now start to check off, particularly at the end of today, are you starting to get a little clearer around this? Okay. Okay, so the three fantasies when we're setting up our goals is, the first one is that we've set a goal that is impossible. Now, what I mean by impossible is, anything's possible. What I mean by impossible is that it goes against universal laws. Okay, when I say we've set a goal that's impossible, it goes against universal laws. Okay, now what I mean by that is, referring back to here, is if you've set a goal that's one-sided, okay, if you've set a goal that focuses on fulfilling an infatuation, being over-supported, then that's a one-sided goal. Okay, that's a one-sided goal if it just fulfills that side. Okay, how you know if your goal is like really doesn't go against universal laws is that it's two-sided. Okay, you're fully aware of the upside, but you're fully aware of the downside as well. Okay, you're fully aware of the sacrifice, the hard work, the things that will need to be done in order to get there. Okay. So you've got a balanced perspective, essentially, is what you're checking off. You've got a balanced perspective. I mean, who's ever done that? Have you ever done that where you've gone for a job or something? Like I remember doing this when I was, really young. One of my, my first few jobs that I ever got, when I was sort of 18 and 20 and that, I remember I'd go for these jobs and, and get them. But my mind was so far in the fantasy of what this job was going to be. I had no idea, I remember one of my first jobs where I was working 60 hours a week when I got it. And all I was thinking about was the pay packet, the car that I got to drive, all the rest of it. I wasn't thinking about the 60 hours that I was at work and how much, and how much that would impact other areas of my life. I was really just focused on the upside. So a goal that's just focused on the upside is it goes against universal laws. So the other thing as well is how this actually plays out is if you're not aware of the other side, and if your mind and your psychology is just focused on one side, you will attract the opposite side because your mind is always trying to maintain balance. Okay. Every system is trying to bring you back to homeostasis. Homeostasis is a balanced state. I mean, even with your own physiology, we're both, there's parts of you right now that are dying and parts of you right now that are regenerating and living. So at the moment, 50% of you is dying and 50% of you is regenerating new life. That's just how our systems work. Your body is always trying to get you back. Your physical body is always trying to get you back into balance. Your psychology is always trying to get you back into balance. Okay, your social, all of our ologies, anything that's an ology is seeking homeostasis, and your psychology is no different. So if you're up there, you will attract down here to bring you back to the middle. Okay, did that just land with everyone? Awesome. Okay, perfect. Okay, so if you've set a goal up there, you will attract down there. You will eventually get back to there, but geez, that's a long way of doing it. That's a much longer way of doing it. Okay, so that's the first one. The second thing is it's improbable. You've got to have a look at, is my goal improbable? And what I mean by that is that it's not in alignment with your highest values. Okay, so your values that you did on day one, having a look at your number one value. Okay, so for example, Narelle's value is family. If her goals are not in alignment with her family, if she sees any of her goals as taking away from her family, she won't do them. She'll procrastinate. She'll make excuses. She'll start to go, oh, I didn't really want that. Okay. So, for example, if you've got family as your highest value, and if you, I'll just explain this further before I go into that example. So you've got to ensure that your goals are in alignment with your highest values. Okay. Now, if they are not, if you've got a goal that's there and it's not in it, you go, oh, well, that's, my highest value is family, but this one's got to do with career, or this one's got to do with, health and fitness and all the rest of it. And you go, okay, well, that's not in alignment, Donna. What do I do now? Okay. The thing is that if you've got a goal and it's not directly aligned with your highest values, you can create that alignment. Okay, you can create that alignment. So I'll use the example of having family as a highest value, because that's one that, often comes up. Family or career is a highest value. And let's just say then you want to implement an exercise plan or a healthy eating plan, and you keep dropping off the wagon because either work or family keeps getting in the way. Does this sound familiar to anyone? Okay, come on, we've all done this, right? Okay, so I'll use so we'll just say family. Family is the example. Okay, we'll use family as the highest value. Okay, so let's just say family is the highest example, and you want to start eating and exercising, but the thing is that the time that you have to exercise is actually eating into your family time. And the time that you've got to eat healthy, well, you know, Friday night is like fish and chips night for the family. And, you know, eating is something that you do with your family, and, you know, you're finding it kind of hard. And, you know, like family is the priority, and they keep getting in the way. So the way that we do this, and this is, I guess, you know, where you can sort of start to navigate things, is that you've got to then link your goal. If your goal isn't directly aligned with and obviously aligned with your highest value, you then have to link it to how it is aligned with your highest value to maximize your chances of just naturally being inspired to do it. Okay, naturally being inspired to do it. Okay, so I'll give you a personal example. I mean, I've got small children. My daughter's, she'll be 2 in a few weeks, and my son's 6. So little kids take up a lot of time. We're sort of, more the traditional roles where my husband's, he's working sort of 60 hours a week, and I'm the one that's caring for the kids. But I'm also running this business, doing, I'm studying at uni. I've got other things on the go as well, but she's not in daycare. I am the primary caregiver for her. It would be so easy on many, many occasions to, to go, oh, the family is the highest value. Why would I keep my business going when family is the highest value? But my family and my business, I have linked them so closely together that I can barely tell them apart anymore. So when I'm doing this, so what I mean by that is you literally just get your goal on the piece of paper, and you go, how is achieving this goal benefiting me in my family? So I remember one day sitting down when I was feeling a little bit, lacking a little bit of motivation. I sat down and I came up with 200 benefits of how keeping my business going and working with clients was benefiting my family. And I can't separate them now. Okay. I show up as a way better mum. I'm much more present when I'm invested in my business. So the two just go hand in hand. Okay, so that's how we link those together. So right now, if you're checking off your goal and if it's not directly linked, please do that exercise. It will be well worth it. That's not in today's challenge necessarily, but if you come up against that, just flick a message into the group and I'd love to help you out with that. Okay, so the first one, it's impossible, it's one-sided. The second one, it's improbable, and that's if it's not in alignment with your highest values. You now know what to do to put it in alignment with your highest values. And then the third one, the third fantasy, is that it's unstrategized. Okay, you haven't got any sort of action plan. Okay, you haven't got any sort of action plan. Okay, so putting a strategy in place, just chunking it down into manageable parts. Now, the thing is as well, is that once you've chunked it down also, is that gives you, that kind of gives you your roadmap. Now, because there's a difference between chunking down your goals into into the strategies, the elements and the parts of the strategy. There's a difference between that, and there's a difference between having the end in mind and then setting up all the conditions of what you think need to occur in order for you to achieve your goal. Okay, I'm going to elaborate on that. Okay, because conditions that you believe need to exist in order for you to achieve your goal is where your belief systems get you running around in circles. Okay, so remember on day one when I said, oh yeah, I've been really sick over the weekend, and I was kind of debating on whether or not I should even run this program this week, which, and then it was all of a sudden in that moment, I was triggered with the conditions that I believed needed to be present. I needed, in order to run a successful, challenge, that I had to have spent, either half of Sunday or half of Saturday in my office, just going through things, reading through my, I had all these beliefs about the conditions that needed to be present. Okay. So the conditions that you believe need to be present is the distinction between taking action and just doing a bunch of random stuff. Okay, chasing your tail. Okay, has that landed for everyone? Does that make sense? I'm just going to give that a moment for that to really absorb. Yeah. Okay. The difference between taking action and just doing is the difference between actually working towards your goal or setting up a bunch of stuff that is really just a belief system about what you believe needs to exist in order for you to achieve your goals. Okay. Would anyone like some examples around that? Okay. Okay. Well, okay. So I've given you the example. Okay. What would be, who's got a goal that who's got an example for me? Let me have a real life example, because it's always easier. Has anyone got an example? A goal that they think that they chase their tail on. They feel like they don't actually get it done ever. Narelle.
Yeah, we'll do, because one of my when I first started writing them, one of the goals was completing my diploma of counselling.
Yeah.
And then when I wrote them out clear and I was comparing them to my values, I'm like, there's something like not quite right here, because I guess not seeing how it links, I probably need to do the linking exercise to family, but yeah.
Okay.
And I'm dragging my feet with.
Okay. Can I just ask, so when you get the diploma of counselling, what's the end result of that? Because the end result isn't the diploma of counselling. That's a conduit to get you somewhere else.
Yeah, no, it's the belief of getting work and getting a job.
Okay.
And creating stability for my family, for my kids. So my first goal was having my children under my roof and having a home. So stability.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this one here of so the goal, so in this, I mean, this is a great example, because the goal kind of is the diploma of counselling, but what it really is getting a job, like getting a job that will provide.
Yeah.
And so then the question that I would ask is the diploma of counselling one of the conditions that you perceive needs to exist in order for you to get work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's one of the conditions that now, I'm not saying that you won't end up doing the diploma of counselling, but if you have a look at the end result of the type of work that you want, because, and by the way, everyone, Narelle is actually extremely qualified. Okay. She's actually as qualified as me, to run a course like this. So for her to get a diploma of counselling is kind of like, she's got all the tools, like she can help people way beyond what a diploma of counselling can anyway. So it's not to say that you won't go off and do it. Okay. Because to be in certain, with certain jobs and certain systems, that may be required. But is this just a belief system that you need that qualification in order to get the job? Are you currently more qualified than what you would be from a diploma of counselling? Okay, so this is a beautiful example. Can everyone see that? Like, she's actually qualified to get, to help people, in terms of helping people, in terms of being able to help them in a way that she could probably, I would dare say that your rate would be higher than what you would be getting in your traditional, counselling role anyway. Mainly because the results that you'll get for people are much better than what you would get if I just went off the street and went to a counsellor, or if I came off the street and went to Narelle. I'd get them much quicker and much more efficiently if I went with Narelle, and that's valuable to some people. Okay, so this is just a belief system. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't mean that you won't necessarily do it, but get really clear on what that end result is. Like, and what I mean by getting really clear is get clear on Where do you want to work? Who do you want to work with? Do you want to be working for yourself? Are there particular types of people that you would like to work with? Because then maybe the diploma of counselling, that might be the thing that, you know, to work with people in certain sectors, it's kind of a prerequisite that you need to have gone through the, you know, through the system as such. So working out what that end result really is will help you work out if that diploma of counselling is really necessary, or if it's just a distraction, if it's just busy work that's distracting you from the end result.
Because I can stay home and be a mum and look after my family.
Yeah.
Not be just distracted by business. I'm there for my kids for that security and stability.
The thing is, but also, I mean, there's many ways that you could fulfill that goal of work, you know, and that's the thing. You're qualified to work right now. That's yeah. It's not a case of do the counselling and get work, or don't do the counselling and have no work and be a mum. You can actually do both. Yeah. Okay. So refine the end result, and that if you get really clear on the end result of what work actually looks like, the choice to do the diploma will become very easy for you. Okay, so that was a beautiful example, because as Narelle's focused on the conditions that she believes need to exist, can you see how it's like doing her head in, like, do I do it? Don't I do it? Don't I? Because she's focusing on the conditions that need to exist. If you can spend some time tonight focusing on that end result, and then just see what comes up for you, and if that's a clearer pathway for you. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. That was I couldn't have asked for a more perfect example. Perfect. So does that help everyone see what we mean by the conditions that need to exist versus the end result? Yeah, awesome. Okay, so how are we going for sorry, gone over a little bit again. Okay, today's challenge is going to be, and I will post a worksheet up into the group. Today's challenge is that you're going to check off on your goals. Okay, you're going to check off on your goals and just check, are they aligned? And if they're not, ask yourself, how, if I was achieving this goal, you know, if I achieved this, how would that actually serve me in my highest values? Okay, that's how we're going to link them. And then what we're going to do, where's my okay, then we're going to look at the beliefs that are surrounding that goal. Okay, and this is a really juicy one. Please really go into this one, because I'd love to see, I'd love to get your feedback from this tomorrow when we jump on the call. But ask yourself, what conditions do I believe need to exist in order for me to achieve that goal? What conditions do I believe need to exist in order for me to achieve that goal? I remember in the very early days, remember when The Secret first came out? And I remember in actuality, I found sort of like manifesting things when I was younger was easier than now when I'm a bit older, because I didn't have belief systems about the conditions that needed to exist. Okay. But one of the things that the personal development movement, you know, like, you know, positive affirmations, who's heard about positive affirmations? Who's done them? Okay. Yeah, we've all done them. And what that triggered for me was a belief system that if my thoughts weren't positive on my goals, I wasn't going to achieve them. I wasn't going to be able to create what I wanted unless, you know, like, unless I, you know, was really, you know, strict with my thoughts. That was a belief system that I used to have, you know, around my goals. So that's an example of a condition that you're believing needs to exist. Or that, you know, I need to be strict with my daily rituals, or I need to be like super focused, or if I have a bad day, then it's all, you know, like, these are the types of things that sneak into our awareness. So have a look at that. What are the types of conditions that you believe need to exist in order for you to achieve your goals? Okay. You're going to uncover some magic on that question. So before we sign off for today, I'm just going to open up the lines. Has anyone, what landed for you today? what landed for you today? Anything?
Me getting really clear on that end result, like, because it's shifted quite a lot through the change that I've gone through the last couple of years.
Yeah, perfect.
And there's conflict there. So really taking the time to sit with that.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. And that inner conflict, I mean, once you've set up this structure, when that inner conflict arises, you just tap back into your end result.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. That's a beautiful takeaway. Glenys.
Hi, mine's the alignment with the values.
Perfect.
Yeah, just yeah.
Okay.
What I'm and I guess it is about the, like you spoke, specific actions rather than random actions for want of a better word. So getting really specific about that step by step rather than, oops, I need to do that. Oops, I need to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. That's a lovely takeaway. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else? What landed for you, Catherine?
Not so much landed, but something that's kind of I want to kind of ask anyway. What happens when your values, when your goals and values are so kind of like eating each other kind of thing? It's kind of to explain. One of my biggest goals with my business is to be able to handle rejection and criticism.
Yeah.
Because I am a founder of my business and I've put all my, heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
And my values are integrity and love. So every time I receive criticism and rejection, it really hurts the integrity and the love that, that hold the values of my business. So it's how do you hold one in honor whilst trying by being attacked by them as well? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That totally makes sense. First of all, we will be talking about that, like, what to do when you're triggered by other people, and and these, like, fears and shames and guilts and all that come up. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow. But to answer your question, would be to link the two together. Okay, so if you've got anyone who's got, the reason that I shared how my values and my goals were conflicting is because for anyone that's tried to run a business when you've got small kids, or even just works, I know that there's people in this room, you are torn. I don't know a mum that doesn't suffer from mother's guilt at some point when she decides to go back to work, because you've got two highest values that are that you've got the perception that they're in conflict with each other. So the first thing to do is to, rather than have these opposing forces that will just do your head in, is to look at how they're serving each other. Like, to actually take them from being, rather than taking them from being like two siblings that are fighting for your attention, take them to be two siblings that are working together and that you all come together. So if having integrity and coming from a place of love in your business is of high value, you'd start to ask the question, when I receive rejection and criticism, how is that of benefit to me maintaining integrity and love? Well, first of all, if you're rejected by somebody in your business, then part of any marketing strategy is not only pulling the right people towards you, but knowing when to release the wrong people. And that is integrity. You don't want to just hold on to anyone regardless. Like, if it's not the right fit for somebody, you want to have integrity, that you're like, my integrity is more important than retaining you as a client right now. And so if this is no longer a good fit for you, it's, that's part of your integrity. The other thing with the criticism is starting to look at, okay, well, how does that serve you in maintaining love? If somebody's taking the time to be really honest so that you can receive that feedback, so that you can receive balanced feedback, not just one-sided feedback, so that you can receive both sides, then that is actually helping you balance your business so that you can come from a place of love.
It's come to the point now where I've dug myself a massive hole where I'm just guarded now. So, you know, I've gone to the point where I'm happy if it's not for you, it's not for you. I get that. Everyone wants something a bit different. But, you know, now it's the point where I don't even want to ask the question, you know, like, why don't they want it and stuff like that. 'Cause I'm just like, oh, I can't handle it anymore because it's I'm so personally entrenched in the product.
Okay. Well, you've come to the right place, because, you know, because truly this process really does, you know, it really does, like, we're not going to solve all your problems in a couple of days, but we definitely are going to give you some huge tools that you can go away and work on. Because, like, it's easy to get offended when you believe that your thoughts and your beliefs and your feelings are real. Okay, you guard that. You know, we defend our beliefs, you know, like I mean, countries war because of belief systems, you know, like we are triggered to defend them, you know, greater than anything. You know, our belief systems, we make them so personal when they're not. They're just a set of pre-programs, because I can guarantee if all of us were raised in a different country, we would have and by different parents, you'd be you, but, you know, let's just say you were, you know, plucked at birth, dropped at the other side of the world in a completely different culture, you'd have different belief systems right now. So which part is you? Your values are you, your belief systems are someone else's. Okay, yeah, funnily enough, our values, we let other people overpower our values, and we subordinate to other people's values, and we take on other people's beliefs like they're our own. It's actually, we naturally do the opposite to what we should. So what we're doing in this program is we're really owning our values so that we don't subordinate to other people's bullshit, and we're recognizing that beliefs are just that, they're beliefs, they're just someone else's programs, and that's okay. They're our operating systems. We're not going to, you know, throw the baby out with the bathwater. We're not going to overhaul everything just for the sake of it, but starting to recognize that. And it catches you off guard at different times. Like, you know, I know that I've received criticism from, you know, people over the years that at the time you go, hang on a sec, you know, like you get your heckles up. But then when you go away and reflect, you go, well, okay, is any of that actually true? Yeah, actually some of that is true. You know, like, you know, maybe that part is true. I know now, like, you know, with my husband, like if I frustrate him and really, really push his buttons when he's like, you are being such a bitch, before I'd be like, no, I'm not. Now I'm just like, yeah, I am. Like, I'll own that. I actually am. I don't need to get offended, like, you know, to the same degree. So stay with us, Catherine. Recognizing the, you know, like, yeah, doing work on sort of recognizing that your belief systems aren't your own, so you don't need to defend them so vigorously. I know I haven't fully answered your question, but I know we've made some inroads there. Yeah, cool.
Question.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Thanks for asking it. Okay, so we don't have time for today, but who would like to do a conflict deconstruction process tomorrow? Who would like to be in the hot seat for tomorrow? All you'll need for tomorrow is a conflict, just something that you've gone through, something that's happened. Hopefully you're not in the middle of it right now. I don't want something that you're currently going through, just something that you've gone through in the last week or two where somebody or something really pissed you off. That's all we need.
I'll do it, Donna, if no one wants to, but
perfect. Okay, awesome. So yeah.
I've had a lot of people come up to me lately and say life is not what it should be, or like things like that. So it's not me personally, but a lot of people around me are saying things like that. Is that helpful at all?
Are you triggered by it?
No.
Then that's
No, so it's not about me personally.
No, that's not a conflict. So no, this is the conflict deconstruction process. So tomorrow we'll use Narelle just as an example, and it's just so that you can see how your beliefs are triggered. So how something will trigger you, and depending on your stress level, different layers of beliefs will be triggered. And we're going to go through the process to look at how it triggers thoughts, feelings. Thanks, Alex. How it triggers thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. So so thank you everyone for being here today. Great session, and I look forward to seeing you all bright and early tomorrow. Okay, take care. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Donna.
Thank you. Bye.